Good morning, everyone. So this is a pre-record because actually today, while this is being broadcast, I'm in my own training, my level 3 training with one of my senior teachers. So I've pre-recorded this session and hope you enjoy. Okay, well, we'll start with the invocation to Patanjali. So let's sit on a lift and cross the shin bones. Bring your hands beside you and sit tall. And bring the palms together in front of the chest. Close the eyes and draw your senses inwards. And then either join with me or sit and listen. Yogena chitasya padena vacham malam sharirasya javaidyakena yopa karotam pravaram muninam patanjalim pranjaliranatosmi abahu purushakaram shankachakra siddharinam Sahasra Shirasam Svetam Pranamami Patanjalim Hari Om. And then maintaining that lift, bow the head into the space of the heart, release the hands, raise the head, open the eyes. Okay, so we're going to start off with Adho Mukha Virasana. So we'll go to the back edge of the mat and extend the trunk forward, and if you need a support for the head, take a support for the head. We're going to go fairly swiftly from there into Adho Mukha Svanasana. And then come up into position for Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. And you can take the feet as wide as the mat if you're stiffer in the hips or stiffer in the hamstrings, or keep the feet in the hip width position. And then walk forwards for Uttanasana. Use the folded elbows. And then bring the hands down, look forwards, come up and stand up in Tadasana. And just be in Tadasana for a moment, because often we skip through this pose. But spend some time here, pinning those shoulders back, pressing the tops of the thighs back, tailbone forwards, pubic bone lifting. All of those adjustments you can make here in your Tadasana, and that will inform you about the rest of your work. So usually what we do in this pose is mirrored in all the other poses. So see if you can find out what your tendencies are. Maybe you have your head forwards or your hips forwards, or your bottom sticking back too far. and then release. Now we're going to do Utthita Hasta Padangusthasana. You might like to put the foot on something like a ledge or the top of a chair. I think I can probably do it here. You can just about see me over here. I just have to move my books out the way. Otherwise, I'm not going to be able to put my feet there. But rather than sort of struggling to put the foot on the wall, we're going to put the foot on a ledge. It doesn't have to be as high as this one that I'm using. Of course, it can be your chair or it can be a book, a table even. Okay, but we're going to do Utthita Hasta Padangusthasana 1. So I'm going to start here, aiming to get my heel up there, although I might have overreached myself, let's see. But when you do put your heel on something, for these leg extensions, make sure it's just the tip of the heel and not the back of not the Achilles. So it's just the tip of the heel bone. And then I like to have my belt on my heel bone itself, and then as I pull back, it's drawing the leg back into the hip like that, and then lifting up. So don't overreach yourself. You know, the leg is aiming to be straight, but actually the most important leg is the bottom leg. If that's buckling, then you need to take the leg down a bit so that this leg can straighten more. But obviously, you know, the work is there to be done. So it's not about making it easy by bringing the leg down. It's about making it accessible so you can straighten the left leg. And work on drawing those shoulders back, breastbone forwards and up, chest up, head, back of the head in line with the tailbone, so not pushing forwards again. And then release that leg down and change. So I'm hoping my left leg will behave the same as my right. I have to lift my right heel a little bit, but that right leg heel, when you look down, it shouldn't turn in. It's got to remain parallel, so you might need to lift and adjust that. And then work on pressing this thigh back first and hold the belt in the same place on the left foot and pull either on the big, or you can have the belt on the heel bone or on the roots of the toes. But I like it on the heel because I can really draw that leg bone into the body. And the shoulders rolling back and down, chest lifting. That was my spine. The fascia on the right side of my spine likes to have a little bit of make some noise sometimes as things start to move. Okay, and then we're going to take that leg down. We're going to repeat that. Yesterday in the class, well, it will be yesterday when you see this, but it was this morning for me. We did the same pose, but with the fingers holding the big toe. So we're going to do that now, but with the foot up. So again, bring your right leg up. So if you bring the knee towards the chest and then lift that leg. Now, the thing is that the higher the leg, the easier it is to catch the big toe. If your leg's very low, it's not that easy. So if you're not able to catch the big toe, just hold further along the belt and just hold with one hand like that. So you're kind of controlling that leg with one hand. And if you can, catch the big toe with the first two fingers. Thumb is on the top of the toe. The palm faces towards the left if you're holding the big toe. Like that, not like that. Okay, so the palm of the hand faces in. And then imagine that you're drawing that big toe back towards you, towards the hip. Draw the leg bone into the hip and stand up tall. And don't forget, I'm going to get rid of this belt actually. Don't want that buckle to clang on the radiator. Don't forget that this standing leg, left thigh, can you press it back and lift the chest? Okay, and then you can bring that leg down and change legs. So either you're going to hold with the belt or you're going to take the leg up. Let's see if I could do this without the belt. Sometimes my left leg doesn't behave quite the same as my right. So I just have to give it a bit of respect, encouragement. So top of the right thigh back, and then extend the left arm forwards and either hold the belt close to the foot or hold the foot with the first two fingers around the big toe. Right hand can be on the hip and stand up nice and tall. And some people like to put their arm up, actually. Actually, I couldn't touch the ceiling almost like that. It helps them to balance a bit more, but that's it. And then release, and down we come. Okay, so don't worry, we're not going to balance today, because I don't want you to balance just for the sake of it. It was just to encourage you to catch that big toe, because we're going to look at that in some other poses. Okay, so if we take Uttanasana first, so we'll start with the feet a little bit apart, those arms stretching down, take the arms up to Urdhva Hastasana, and then go forwards to Uttanasana. Bring the hands down under the shoulders, tops of the thigh bones pressing back. And then if you can, walk your hands back in line with the feet and let your head come down, let your elbows bend. If you're not able to reach the floor, of course you can put your hands on bricks. But don't hold the backs of the legs today. Put your hands on bricks. And try and keep the weight forwards over the arches of the feet. Kneecaps lifting, thighs lifting. Even though the feet are apart, see if you can grip the legs together. And then lift the head and just stretch the arms back to come up. Don't throw the arms forwards to come up. Throw the arms back. All right, so we're going to repeat that, but then it's going to become Padangustasana. So that grip of the first two fingers around the big toe is what we know as the Padangusta grip, because the Angusta is the big toe. Pad is foot, and you're gripping there on both feet. We're going to take Padangustasana. Okay, so raise the arms up. Now, point your first two fingers up towards the ceiling. So your thumb is kind of closed in. Fingers are pointing up. Go forwards like you're shooting arrows. And then take the fingers, the two first fingers around the big toe or underneath the big toe. Thumb is on top of the big toenail. Palms are facing in. Arms are straight to start with. Pull the big toes off the floor, but resist the big toes down so they don't actually move. But what does move is your upper back. And then bend the elbows and draw the head down for Padangustasana. Sorry about that noise. And then straighten the arms, look forwards and come up. So that's Padangustasana, and Uttita Padangustasana was what you just did. Uttita Hasta Padangustasana was what you just did with the leg up. Okay, because it's relating to that grip of the foot. Okay, so before we go further, we're going to do Parsvakonasana. I just have to adjust something on the screen because it's making a funny little shape. I just want to move that. Whoops, no. Don't do that. See, this is what happens when you try and do this live. See, this just to prove that I am doing it live when things go wrong. So now I can't see what's going on. Here we go. There we are. Right, okay. I'm back. So we're going to take Parsvakonasana, all right? Don't use a brick. We're going to put the elbow on the inside of the knee for this, all right? So from Tadasana, bring the arms up to the center of the chest, bend your knees slightly and jump the legs apart, or step if you've got your, bad knees or what have you. Turn the left foot in and the right leg out. I am trying to mirror you, but I think the camera is going the wrong way. So I'm mirroring you, but just turn your left foot in and your right leg out. And then bend your right leg towards the right angle. Now we're going to take the right elbow on the inside of the knee. Can you see that? So it's in front of the knee on this side, on the inside. and I'm pushing the elbow back against the knee, trying to keep that left shoulder rolling back. Now, as I'm pushing my knee back, I've got to grip my buttock forwards. So don't just put the knee back and swing your buttocks back. Your right buttock has to grip forwards as I'm pressing the knee back so the groin opens. You can stretch the arm down towards the floor and maybe bring that top arm up and over. And if it doesn't go over, it can go up or it can go parallel to the floor, or if it's all going wrong in your shoulder today, if you've got some problem there, just keep the hand on the hip. Head back. And then if you can, look up underneath your left arm. Okay, we're going to stretch into the outer edge of the left foot. Bring the left arm up, raise the right arm, come up, turn the feet. Feet back to parallel, Utthita Hasta Padasana. Right toes in a little bit, not too much. Whole of the left leg turns out. Lift the chest. Bend the left leg. So that thigh parallel to the floor. Extend to the left. Reach out as far as you can. Bend the left elbow, put the elbow on the inside of the knee first. So you're drawing that knee back, but gripping the buttock forwards. So the knee's trying to go that way behind you. The buttock's trying to go forwards towards the front. So then there's a grip in the hip and an opening in the groin. Then see if you can stretch that arm down towards the floor and maybe bring the top arm up and over. Try not to collapse the inner right thigh. Press into the outer edge of the right foot. Turn the abdomen, turn the chest. See if you can turn the head or keep the head looking forwards. And then bring that right arm up, bring the left arm up, come up, turn the feet and jump the legs back together and stretch the arms down. Just be in Tadasana for a moment. Deep breath in, deep breath out. Okay, just take Uttanasana, but start off on the end of your mat because we're going to go into Adho Mukha Svanasana from there. So again, Tadasana, Urdhva Hastasana, Uttanasana, hands down towards the floor. Oops, I'm not in the centre of my mat. Be on the fingertips. Now, if you need to, put the palms flat, bend the knees if you need to, put the palms flat, and then step back into Adho Mukha Svanasana. And feel that grip of the outer hips. Draw back from the inner big toe to the inner heel. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to walk the hands towards the feet. So walk the hands back towards the feet as if you're chasing your feet. This time, hold the backs of the ankles, bend the elbows, draw the body down. And then keeping the heels back and down, walk forwards on your fingertips, back towards the end of your mat. See if you can keep the heels down, put the palms flat. Maybe the heels will stay down a bit longer. And then walk the feet towards the hands on the hips and come up and stand up. Okay, now I've just got to remind myself what I'm doing. So, yes, oh yes, okay. So before we do the seated pose that I wanted to focus on today, we're going to do an abdominal pose because this seated pose does have an abdominal element to it. All right, so this is Urdhva Prasarita Padasana. Now, if you have a back problem, if it's your menstrual cycle, you shouldn't do the next one. You should do the next one with a belt or even just hold here. Well, what you can do actually is you can hold, do Pavamuktasana, and then you could do Ekapada Pavamuktasana like that and just keep changing, all right, like that, and then change there and really extend the leg. If it's just a question of a weak back or very, very tight hamstrings, you can take the legs up, but make sure they're vertical. You see how, I think when we're a bit more flexible, we tend to overdo. So I'm having a look now to make sure I'm vertical. See, to me that feels far away, but it is vertical. So you've got to feel the whole length of your sacrum is on the floor. So that's another option, all right? And then the full pose is the arms are going to go over the head. We're going to stretch the legs up, okay? And we're going to stay there for a minute. And then what we're going to do, using the breath, is we're going to go on the exhale, down. Inhale, up. Exhale, down. Inhale, up. Okay, I'll do it with you, all right, for as long as I can. I'm still suffering from the other day, actually. Did about 20 of these. I can still feel it in my belly. So, first of all, bring the knees towards the chest. Whatever you're going to do, just bring the knees towards the chest. And you're not trying to flatten your lower back into the floor, by the way. Don't push your lower back down. It's really not good to do that. There is a slight curvature. Okay, it's natural. But what you want to feel is that the outer hips, outer ribs are moving down. Okay, but the lumbar has a slight curve to it. Don't flatten your lumbar, otherwise you'll end up with sacroiliac problems, amongst other things. Okay, and then if you're taking the belt around the feet, do that. Take your legs up. Otherwise, can you bring the arms over? And if that's not possible because of shoulder problems, you can have the arms out to the sides or here. This is quite nice, actually. And then bring the legs up. Bring the legs up. The other thing you can do is hold the sides of the mat. I've run out of mat to hold now, so I've got to do it the hard way. Okay, and we just stay there for a minute while I waffle on. Look at your feet. Oh, my goodness me. Can't wait for the beauty therapist to be over so I can get my toenails done. Yeah, squeeze those legs together and extend the arms. Really extend the arms, because in a minute you're going to have to use your arms to create that length here in the abdomen, all right? Because the abdomen has to draw in and up as you extend the backs of the legs towards the heels. Now, exhale fully. Take a deep breath in. As you exhale, long, slow exhalation. Touch. Inhale, come up. And it can be quite a sharp inhale, okay, to lift the legs back up, all right? But don't jerk the body. Shall we do 3 more? Let's do 3 more. So a deep breath in. Couple of breaths as you get to the top. I hope I'm not doing these on my own. 1 more to go. If you're lying on the sofa, you've got to do 20 more, okay? And then when you get to the top of that final one, just bend the knees and release. Okay, and then roll to the side. So I wasn't too cruel to you. I mean, you know, I could have said do 9, but as I can't see you, I think I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. We'll just do 3 of those. So we're going to do a seated pose or 2. And first of all, you'll need to get whatever you need for some of the bent leg seated poses. So, for example, Janu Shirshasana. What do you need for Janu Shirshasana? Well, you might need something for the knee. You might need a belt. We're not going to actually go forwards in this. We're going to stay upright. It's just the leg movement that we're doing. And when I do my Janu, I sit on the edge of the blanket like this. Can you see that? Okay. I might move my mat over a bit, actually, so that I'm more in shot when I take my leg out. Yeah. When I take the leg out, can you see my knee goes down, but it's not, I haven't got the thigh on the blanket. All right, the knee can go down, the foot can turn, and the blanket's just under my buttock bone, not under my thigh on my right leg. Okay, so you need to get the right height so that you sit up. If the knee is like that, then obviously you need to sit higher first and then maybe support the thigh. Okay, but it's not so important when you're not going forwards, but we are going to use a belt around the other foot. So I'm going to put a belt around my left foot. I'm going to bend my right leg out to the side, turning the sole of that foot up towards the ceiling. So the toes go in a diagonal extension towards the left leg. And then I hold onto my belt and I turn towards the left leg. So I'm just using the belt as a kind of, it's almost like I'm trying to drive a horse or something. I'm pulling on the outer edge of the belt with the left hand and allowing the right armpit chest to come forwards and lifting the chest, lifting the head, looking up. So just be there and really press the right thigh and outer knee down towards the floor and extend the left leg away. And that right buttock has to be firm and the groin soft. So that comes from really rotating the femur head into the hip socket, feeling that Parsvakonasana action actually. Okay, and then release. Hold the knee, stretch the leg away. You might need to move your support so that when you sit the other side, that this side of your thigh is right on the edge of the blanket so that when you bend the leg, it's not being pushed up. The thigh isn't being pushed up by the blanket. Give yourself a bit of time to turn, then you can place the belt around the right foot, sorry. And now we've got to pull a little bit more firmly on the outer right side of the foot, pressing the big toe mound forwards to draw that left armpit chest round. So even in these upright seated poses, there's a lot of work to be done. Outer thigh down, buttock forwards, the left buttock gripping, inner groin rolling down towards the floor, stretch the right leg away, lift the chest. And then release and come out. Now, when we do the next pose, you might well be able to catch the opposite foot. I don't do well if I catch the opposite foot, so I use a little bit of belt. You might need more belt than me. So what we're going to do is going to look at the pose Akana Dhanurasana, and this is where I wanted you to have a little bit of abdominal work as well, because it's quite an abdominal action when you bring the leg in, and also you've got to grip the hips. So there's a lot going on in this pose. And now again, you can do it on the floor, you can do it on a bit of a higher lift. First of all, we're just going to do the leg part, this part, the bent leg part. So it's that grip again, it's the first two fingers around the big toe, palm facing inwards, and then you can keep your left hand beside your hip for the first position, and then we bring the leg up and we bring the knee back like that. Now I have a tendency to lift my shoulder, so I've got to remember to release my shoulder down, but the knee should go as far back as possible, and watch that the knee doesn't drop, so keep the knee quite close in. If that thigh should almost be hugging the side of your body, so you can even hold the thigh up for a bit. If you find it difficult to keep that action, you can hold there, but then take the left hand down and draw that knee back. Okay, and then release the leg down, and then you'll be able to see from the other side. So I'm keeping my right hand by my hip, I'm going forwards to catch the big toe, and obviously if you can't reach, you can grab it like that with the leg bent. Now, don't let the knee fall out to the side, keep it close into the arm, lift it up, and then try and draw it back. And again, you could hold around the thigh with the right hand to bring it in. Relax the left shoulder. See that your elbow is not dropping down too much, and then bring that leg back. Okay, so that's the half a pose, because actually we're supposed to hold both feet, and this is the bit that I certainly struggle with. I can do it, but it's not great. And what I mean is my proportions don't give me a great movement. So I take a little bit of belt. In fact, that's too much. Yeah, just a little bit of belt to give me a bit of extra length here. Then I grab the big toe with the first two fingers again, that Padangusta grip. And now it's like the archer. So I've got my bow and I'm pulling the string back. I've got my sight like that. Okay? So that's what you're doing now. So I'll stay here while you do that. So there's an abdominal grip. have to turn the inner thigh. You have to draw that knee back to lift the chest, shoulders down, and then release. And down you come. So can you feel that when you've got that leg up, that abdomen does go in, it grips. You don't grip the abdomen, it happens, but the more you can be firm there, the better it is, the better lift you get. So again, holding the belt. If you can hold the foot, please do. But hold the other big toe, and then we draw that back. So it's a strong pull back. I did archery last year, actually. Really enjoyed it. I did a 6-week course. It was absolutely fantastic. And this pose, whew, it's strong. If you want to learn how to do this pose, then practice it. And if you want to learn how to pull a bow, see the difference. And it is abdominal, actually, even when you're pulling a bow. Very pleasant activity. Okay, so that's Dhanurasana, the archer. It's Arkana Dhanurasana, the pose of the archer. Okay, so I want to double check I haven't missed anything out. Oh yes, right, so I was going to do this one and we ran out of time on Saturday actually, so we'll do this one now. And this is Malasana. And I've been really, really struggling with this pose for many, many years. So I use a lift under my heels, and that's okay. But eventually you've got to kind of creep those heels down somehow. So I've gone from using a block to using a blanket over time, because the blanket gives me the support, but also I can push my heels down. The block doesn't give me any way of moving forwards in the pose, if you see what I mean. So a block is okay, but eventually come to the blanket roll, because then you can you can squash it with your heels and get the heels a bit lower. Now, of course, some of you might not need the lift. Some of you might bend forwards very easily. So take what you need, not, don't prop yourself up. So I've got my heels up on my blanket roll. I'm going to go forwards. And then I'm going to take the knees a little bit wider, but I don't want to splay them out. So the inner heels stay together, and then I bring my hands down to the floor, first of all. So it's a Malasana 1. In fact, Malasana 1 you can do with the knees together and the arms forwards. But for today's purposes, bring the hands forwards and push those heels down into that lift or into the floor, and squeeze the inner edges of your feet together. So have a look and see that your feet are together. They shouldn't be apart at all. No, the heels should be together. Now, the thighs will drop if your hips are loose. So grip the outer hips and feel that the thighs move a little bit closer towards the sides of your body. Stretch the arms forwards. And then you can release the head down. Now, to come out, if you've got bad knees and your knees don't like you to stand up straight, just put your hands behind you, sit down in Dandasana, and extend the legs away. That's the safest way to come out if you've got problems standing up. Okay, and obviously if this is hurting your knees, please don't do it. Just tell me and I'll show you what to do. So then bring your feet towards you. See if you can come up. You see, I have to come up in a very unladylike way, and then put that lift back there again. It's all work in progress, but you might be able to come up much better than that. And roll the inner edges of your feet together. Now this time what we're going to do is we're going to bring the arms back. So I've got to get my arms inside the legs so that my upper arms are against those shin bones. So that's like what we did in Parsvakonasana. We had the arm on the inside of the leg for the standing pose. And now we're going to bring the arm back so the wrist is resting on that roll. That's why it's also nice to have a roll blanket and not a block, like that. And then the head down. Okay, and then again, lean back on the buttocks and stretch the legs forwards. And then come onto all fours. Once again, hands under the shoulders, tuck the toes under Adho Mukha Svanasana.
top thighs back, stretch the heels down towards the floor. And walk the feet forwards towards the hands, Uttanasana. Hold the backs of the legs this time. Release the head down. And then bring the hands onto the hips and come up.
Okay, so we're going to take Setu Bandha now. So that when we're doing those, bent leg poses, then sometimes the back can get a little bit overstretched, those really deep bends. So we're going to take Setu Bandha now as a counter pose. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a vertical bolster. And let's just show you this. So if you don't have a bolster, don't forget you can always use foam blocks like that and then put another blanket on top, and it's the same shape as a bolster. I just like to have a bit more height because this bolster is a bit flat, like that. And then I'm not going to support my feet because I can manage, but you might want to have your feet on a raise. If you're not sure about these poses, please ask me. Don't carry on practicing if you're not sure. And I want to get a little timer together. Just put a clock next to me so that I'm not overrunning. Okay. So we're going to hold this for a couple of minutes. That's why I want a little timer, because when I get into this pose, I do like to hold it for quite a while, but we'll just hold it for a couple of minutes. Yeah. I'm going to go back and slide the shoulders down and then extend the legs away. So if the lift is too high and you can't reach the heels to the floor and your legs are buckling, then you can just lift the feet up a little bit onto a lift or put them against the wall or just lower the height. Do what's right for you. And I'm just taking a look at the time there. So I'm going to do a couple of minutes there. And then once you get into position, think of those thighs pressing down. Or press the thighs down. Don't think about it, do it. Press the thighs down, heels extending away. And also make sure you're right on the top of the shoulders, not on the shoulder blades. And if your shoulders don't touch, you've got to either go back further or maybe take a pleated blanket under the shoulders. Work your legs. And, sometimes the back feels like, not quite sure what's going on there. If you work your legs first and find out what happens, then work your shoulders, tuck your shoulders under. And if it's still a bit niggly, maybe change the position on your lift. But, don't think, I can't do this pose. It's just a question of finding A, the right position, B, the right actions, and of course practice. And it is an active pose for the back. It's not a sort of completely resting pose. Even with the bolster, there's still work going on. All right, and then you can bend your knees. Yeah, that was
3 minutes. So we're going to lift the hips up now and move that lift away so the buttocks come down to the floor, and then just cross the shins on the bolster. Just relax the arms. So what I do after Setu Bandha is I don't move a lot in the beginning. I just let the back settle. And some people, what they do is they kind of push and pull. They're trying to get rid of some tension or whatever. Don't do that. Just let your back kind of percolate. And this position with the legs, you see there's the sort of a well now. So the lower back is naturally releasing towards the floor. You don't have to push it down. You don't have to pull your legs around. Just let go. Give it a bit of time, and then move. So then what you do is you roll over to one side and come up and come out. And then, if you feel like you need to twist or something, you can do that. But I'm going to go straight to Shavasana. But I don't lie down from Setu Bandha, because I find that I can't settle into Shavasana then. I get up, move around, move my kit, make sure I'm warm enough, and then I lie down. And that way my back's kind of sorted itself out. Okay, so I'm actually going to get a jumper so that I'm not cold. So do make sure that you leave time for your Shavasana, and that you have enough space for your arms and legs. And use your hands to guide your body down. See that blanket is not under the shoulders, that it's under the head and neck only. Tucking the shoulders under, extend your legs away. Release the arms and let go. And take a few focused breaths. And observe the line between the base of the skull and the sacrum. So visualize your center, the center alignment of your body, and feel it. Observe it. You might find that you're more on the right side of that center than the left, but don't adjust, just feel. And if one side of that center line feels tighter or higher, consciously exhale in that area to release and let go. And then just stay in Shavasana for as long as you need to. When you do come out, don't forget to roll to your side to come up. Don't just sit up quickly.
When you get distracted, follow your breath. Observe your breath. Stay as long as you need to, and I'll see you next time.